Hey everybody, it's Hellfire. Welcome back to another this week in another this week's plural in WiXoss, your source for everything on both the English and Japanese side of WiXoss. Before we get into any of the nitty gritty and such for today, I've got a couple of channel announcements. By a couple, I mean mainly one. I posted about this on Twitter, but I will make the announcement here as well. This week in WiXoss, from today onwards, we'll be moving to Wednesday upload dates, just so it makes it easier for my real life schedule. Since I have been picking up some stuff on Mondays to do for my job and such. Makes it easier for me if I just move the date for this stuff so I don't have to stress myself out. But anyways, like I said, from here onwards, all This Week in WiXoss videos will be uploaded on Wednesdays. So we have a little WiXoss Wednesday for This Week in WiXoss. But let's get on to what we're covering this video. For the English side of the game, we've got some event information and some more Concord Diva spoilers. And on the Japanese side of the game, we have a lot of Lost Selector spoilers to catch up with. So let's get the bulk of this out of the way. We're going to start out with the Japanese side spoilers. And we've got a really fun array of stuff that we're looking forward to. So we have, if we remember, for this upcoming set, our Lurigs that we will have are Ruko, Yuzuki, Hitoe, Akira, and Iona. We already saw what Ruko's Lurig was, so we've got Yuzuki and the rest onward. So we got here Yuzuki 3, Incandescent Dance, auto. At the beginning of your attack phase, target a dragon SIGNI on your field, and you may pay a red. If you do, it gets the following until end of turn. When this attacks, it gets Assassin until end of turn, unless your opponent pays 3. As for her once per game, straightforward heart. You can choose one of the following. Your opponent either puts 3 cards from their enter zone into the trash, or you can target one SIGNI on your field, and it gets double crush until end of turn. Here we've got her normal art. Here we've got her UR. It looks so good. I love the short hair. I really do. It looks nice. I like the tomboy look. Don't flame me. It's a shame that I probably won't be able to get this one, but to actually get this UR, but it's fine. It's fine. As for her partner SIGNI, though, we've got Svarog, Phantom War Dragon Queen. Auto during the attack phase when a card is put into your opponent's enter zone. If there are 3 or more cards in your opponent's enter zone, if a card was not put into the trash by this ability this turn, you put that card into trash. And auto when this attacks, if there is a Yuzuki 3 Incandescent Flame on your field, target one SIGNI on your opponent's field with 12k or lower power, and you may pay 2 Dragon SIGNI out of your enter zone, and if you do, vanish that SIGNI. So, a fun little thing with her auto. I'm sure we all are aware of, like, autos that can only activate once per turn, etc. This kind of works the same way. If you had, like, 2 of these, let's say your opponent has 2 enter, and you have 2 of these out on the field. You vanish one thing on their field. The first one will trigger, since you now have 3. And when you go to resolve the second one, it doesn't resolve, since your opponent now only has 2 enter. But the next time your opponent gets more than 2 enter, that card will end up activating. So it's more of like, it'll trigger every time something gets vanished, but will only actually kind of fully resolve if nothing was put into trash. But moving on, we got Akira next, Akira Lucky. When this Lurig attacks, you may put one Amuser SIGNI on your field to the bottom of your deck. If you do, draw one and deal a damage to your opponent unless they discard 3. And her once per game, I'll crush you. If your opponent has more, or if there are more cards in your hand than your opponent, target a SIGNI on your opponent's field and vanish it if there are less cards in your hand than your opponent. Instead, your opponent discards 3. The fact that this has just a built-in damage on attack is nuts, and it doesn't seem that great right now, but when we get to her partner SIGNI, it'll start to make a little more sense as to how stupid this is. So here we have her normal version, and here's her UR version. I hate to say it, I like her normal version a lot better. Because I don't like all like the pink and frilly, sorry. I really don't. But moving on to her partner SIGNI, where this will start to make a lot more sense for her auto. Pen Spinning Mantle 3rd Play Queen. Once per turn, during the attack phase, when an Amuser SIGNI leaves your field, you may put 1 level 2 or lower Amuser SIGNI from your hand onto the field down. That SIGNI's enter abilities do not activate. And when this attacks, if there is an Aki Lucky on your field, target 1 SIGNI on your opponent's field, and you may put another Amuser SIGNI on your field to the bottom of your deck. If you do, the targeted SIGNI gets minus 12k until end of turn. So, if you don't use this card's second auto, during the attack phase, like, you just bottom deck something else on your field, and then you just get to refill that slot, so you don't lose a single lane on attacking. It's kind of nice. Well, I anticipate the Amuser package to all kind of do stuff like this, because like that's kind of what Amusers does in All-Star, but not to the extent that this one does. It's a little bit nerfed from what I'm used to, but it still plays the exact same way as I remember Abusers. So like I'm looking forward to this deck as much, even though I really hate Aki Lucky. But that's all we got for Aki Lucky. For that little section, we got Hitoe 3rd formula. When you guard, instead you may pay a plant SIGNI out of your enter zone instead of discarding a guard. And then her once per game, True Feelings. Each player puts all cards from their hands into the enter zone, then target up to 1 SIGNI in your enter zone and return it to your hand. That is, it's kind of nuts, honestly. It's like a really funny forced discard in this case. And then you just get something back. I don't remember if all the plant stuff does things when they go from like enter zone to hand or stuff like that, so it's probably a way to refill your hand afterwards. But only time will tell, because the only thing we have for her is her partner SIGNI, but we do have what her UR looks like, and her UR is really pretty. I think all the URs in this set are really good, with the exception of the Aki Lucky UR, but there's her UR art. And speaking of partner SIGNI, we've got Jack Bean's Natural Plant Queen. During the opponent's turn, once per turn, when a level 2 or higher plant SIGNI leaves your field, you can target up to 1 level 1 plant SIGNI in your enter zone and put it on the field. The enter abilities of that SIGNI do not activate. And then auto at the beginning of your attack phase. If there is a Hitoe 3rd formula on your field, target up to 3 SIGNI on your opponent's field, and you may pay any amount of green equal to the combined total level of those SIGNI. If you do, put those SIGNI into the enter zone. There's her once per game payoff. You just happen to have like a handful of like 6 cards, you put everything there. As long as you have 7 or 8 enter, you just clear your opponent's entire field after you've forced them to discard their hand. But payoff is you are still giving them enter. So we'll see how. I think Hitoe is turning out to it, like, starting off as a really interesting deck. So we'll see how it actually turns out after the set releases. Moving on, we've got Iona Enigma Maiden. During your turn, once per turn, when a Labyrinth SIGNI enters your field, choose a SIGNI zone on your opponent's field. This turn, SIGNI that are on that SIGNI zone get minus 5,000 power. And her once per game, Crave. This Rig gets the following ability until the end of your opponent's next turn. During the attack phase, SIGNI on your opponent's field get minus 2,000 power for each SIGNI on your field. So This has some very nice repercussions in its own right, because I don't know if repercussions is the right word here, but the fact that if you can keep a full field, she's just casually going to give minus 6k to your opponent's field the entirety of their turn, basically. When you couple that in with her once per game, or with her once per turn enter and stuff like that, like it's kind of nuts, especially when we get to our partner SIGNI later. But before that, here's her UR art. Chef's kiss. Perfect. I love it. Iona fans are eating good with their UR arts this set. But as for her partner SIGNI, we see the return of Louvre, code Labyrinth, except in black this time. She is white and all-star, but that's not what we're here for. It's Diva. So Louvre, code Labyrinth. During the attack phase, while there is an Iona Enigma Maiden on your field, the SIGNI in front of this gets minus 3k. During your attack phase, while there's another Labyrinth on your field, the SIGNI in front of this SIGNI gets minus 4k. And then on enter, you can rearrange the positions of SIGNI in your opponent's field as you see fit. So with Iona's once per game, if this sees another Labyrinth, and just by having an Iona that is minus, if you really want to like stack all the minus power, so like you have the enter, the 2 constants on this, and Iona's once per game, if you really want to get super fancy, that is minus 18k, all in, that can be all assigned into one slot. It's kind of funny, but it's really honestly really cheap removal, because if you just activate the once per game, if you know how to rearrange your opponent's field while you're playing stuff out, you can clear their entire field for virtually 0 enter, and it's great. It's cheap, it's nice. The power numbers on everything range, but it's definitely got some stuff going for it. So that's all we have for the new Larigs and their respective partner SIGNI. We started to see a trickle of this other sets of the excuse me, I cannot speak today. We started to see a trickle of other supports and such. So continuing on with the spoilers, we have Pangen, Small Cannon. On enter, down and up Larig on your field. Target a SIGNI in your opponent's field with 3k power or lower that shares a color with the Larig downed for this ability's cost and vanish it. And then Life Burst, target a SIGNI with 8k or lower power and vanish it. So this is really good for team decks if you're playing 3 different colors. But the only weird downside to it is it's like you just kind of have to know, or you kind of have to like set your, if you're really trying to use this card, you kind of have to set your assist Larigs to match the colors of what's like popular at the time, which can pose its own issue unless there is a way to get like a 4th color randomly in your Larig deck to be able to do this. And well, I'm not kidding when I'm saying that, because it's actually happened. Here's the piece for this set. Kaleidoscope, with the use timing of main and attack phase. This turn, the next time a Larig on your field would grow into an assist Larig, you ignore the Larig type of that Larig as you grow, and the grow cost is also reduced by 1. So this absolutely means you can grow something like Nova into Tamago, or White Tama into Hanare for some reason. Like, the possibilities are endless. Downside is you have to give up a P slot to be able to do something like this. I don't know how worth it actually is. But, seeing as currently right now in Japanese meta, there's a lot of, like, one-stop decks. I guess one line. I'm not entirely sure what to call this type of format. Whereas, like, you have a full assist line and you just have a random level 0, so you can use 2 arts and 2 pieces still. This might work in some scenarios. I don't know exactly how, but we'll just have to see if this card ends up getting used I probably wouldn't use it personally, but again, anything can happen. And for the assists that we're getting out of this set, we've got Yuzuki, Red Jasper, Pure Lucani Choice, and Earth Curse. For Yuzuki, use timing of main phase and attack phase. On enter, target a SIGNI in your opponent's field and gets the following ability until end of turn. When this attacks, it gets vanished unless they pay 3. And then also on enter, pay 4 and a red. Target up to 2 SIGNI on your opponent's field and they get the following ability until end of turn. When this SIGNI attacks, vanish unless you pay 3. So it's a very interesting 3-stop. It's about the same cost as a normal 3-stop would be, except you only get 1 on grow versus most of the other 3-stops is a 2 on grow. But it could work. Pure Lucani Choice, also use timing of main and attack. On enter, target a Larig and SIGNI on your opponent's field and down them. Also on enter, ditch 3 to target a Larig and SIGNI on your opponent's field and freeze them. So you get a 2-for-1 special here. Multi-attacking SIGNI, beware. Or SIGNI, excuse me. Multi-attacking Larig, beware. This card's going to ruin your day. I'm here for it. I'm tired of multi-attacking Larigs. It's all I play against sometimes. But it's actually a really interesting, I really like this one because it's a 2-stop, but it actually can also hit the Larig too instead of just SIGNI. And then for Earth, Earth Curse, also a main and attack phase timing. This Larig gets the following ability until end of turn. Whenever a Larig or SIGNI on your opponent's field attacks, your opponent puts the top 10 cards of their deck into trash. So while it's not a stop, it can at least return the favor to your opponent by milling them out for refresh stuff, depending on how many times they want to attack you. Will this actually stop stuff? Who knows? I don't. But I'd be really interested to see how this pans out. I might actually, I'm probably going to give this one a shot because I think it's going to be really funny in mill decks. That's it for all the assists that will be in this set, at least for now. Moving on to the arts, we've got some of our generic arts. We've got Charge Enhance, enter Charge 2, and then you put a limit upper on your Larig zone. Use timing on this one is main phase. It looks like we're just getting more of the limit upper arts to kind of give more of a variety. Last set we had the starter deck one, then +2. I don't know if we're going to get any more limit upper ones in this set, considering they've been doing SIGNI spoilers recently. I think we're done seeing all the arts, but I could be wrong. Next one, we've got Vacation Charging. Use timing in main phase. Look at 3 cards at the top of your deck. Put any number to hand and the rest to go to your enter zone. So this is like a weird draw 3 or enter 3 or like in between. On to more arts. We've got Chaos Crown, one of Ruko's new arts. Use timing in main phase. Target a SIGNI in your opponent's field that's 10k or lower. Return it to your opponent's hand. Then you look at the top 7 cards of your deck. Reveal up to 1 angel and 1 demon from amongst them. Add in hand. The rest go on the bottom of your deck in any order. We got a Yuzuki art, Crouching Dragon, Hidden Claws. Use timing in main phase. Vanish a 12k or lower unless your opponent pays 2. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck. Reveal 2 dragon, add them to hand, the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. Onto what Yuzuki's signature art will be for this set. We have Concentrated Crimson Flames. Use timing in main phase. Discard all cards from your hand, then draw 5. For each red card discarded by this effect, target 1 card in your opponent's enter zone that does not share a color with your opponent's center and put it to trash. Additionally, with Recollect 4, if your opponent's center Larig is level 3 or higher, target up to 2 cards in your opponent's enter zone and send them to trash. So this could be a full send of enter if done at the right timing. And then we have the UR version of this art, paying ode to her diva form of Yuzuki. Instead of her new updated 10th anniversary form, we got our older form here. Moving on to Akira, we got one of Akira's normal arts here. Stationary 1, use timing main phase. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck, reveal up to 1 Amuser from amongst them, add it to your hand, then put up to 1 other Amuser Signi from among them onto the battlefield, then the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. Then target 1 Signi in your opponent's field, and it gets minus 5,000 power multiplied by the level of the Signi that entered field by this effect until end of turn. So this one's this one's a really nice universally timed one, because it can be a minus 5, 10, or 15k. So it basically has something at every level that it can actually hit. The Ruka art might not be able to hit most level 3s. The Yuzuki art does hit most level 3s. This one, unless you're playing against Terra Beast, it's hitting everything on the board. So, really nice user support here. We already saw what her signature art was be similar to Ruka, because we saw that in the last video. But moving on, we got some of Hitoe's arts. We got Spring Coil, or Spiral, Thorn. I'm not sure which name is supposed to be going. This is the translation off of the Card Games Discord, which shout out to Tetris for all of these translations. Use timing in main phase. Target 1 Signi in your opponent's field, 10k or lower power. Send it to enter zone. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck. Reveal up to 2 plant Signi from amongst them. Add them to hand. The rest go to bottom in any order. As for Hitoe's signature art, we've got with a calm and open mind. Target up to 3 Signi in your inner zone that share a color with your center and put them onto your field. All Signi in your field get the following ability until end of turn. On attack, target a Signi in your opponent's field. You may pay a colorless multiplied by the Signi's level. If you do, put the targeted Signi into the inner zone. And then additionally, with Recollect 4, all Signi on your field get the following ability until end of turn. At the beginning of your attack phase, enter charge 1. And then here is the UR art for it, owing to her original selector form. This does pair pretty nicely. With at least getting enter back after her once per game effect. So it's I like this for Hitoe. Moving on, we've got Iona's. We got Iona arts. Grave Evening. Use timing. Main phase. Choose one Signi on your opponent's field. This turn, Signi that are on that Signi zone get minus 5k. And this also holds for any Signi that are put onto the Signi zone after the arts was used, because it's targeting the zone. And then look at the top 5 cards of your deck. Add 2 Labyrinth to hand. The rest go to the bottom in any order. As for her signature art for this set, we've got Deadly Portal. Use timing in main phase. Mill 3. Then target any number Signi in your opponent's field. They get a total of minus 1,000 power for cards in your trash. It'll end a turn, distributed in increments of 1,000 power. Additionally, with Recollect 4, up to 2 target Signi. Speaking hard. Additionally, target up to 2 Signi in your trash to share a color with your center and add them to hand. So the way I understand how this first ability works, or the first half of this art works, is say you have 15 cards in your trash, you can distribute up to minus 15,000 power across all your opponent's Signi in increments of 100. So you can do like an even spread of 5, 5, and 5, or you can do 1 of 10, 1 of 2, 1 of 3, as long as distributed in increments of 1k. So it's like a universal, it's a way to fill the holes of what you can't clear at the time, based on like the cards in your trash. I could be wrong in how this works. If I'm wrong, please correct me. That's how I interpret this card working. And then here's her UR art. Looks really nice, actually. Probably my favorite UR out of the set. Like, hands down, probably my favorite UR out of the set for Deadly Portal. Now, that wraps it up for most of the art stuff. Now, moving on to Signis in the set. We do have new SRs for the archetypes that were in the previous set. So here we got Tsurumaru Fully Armed. She has a constant of shoot. And auto, when the SIGNI vanishes a SIGNI on your opponent's field by battle, target one white SIGNI on your field. It gets plus power equal to the vanished SIGNI's power until the end of your opponent's next turn. So if this can vanish at 12k, you give something 12k cross turn. So it's a way to like it's a win more card, continuously killing stuff off on your opponent's field. On enter, pay a white, look at 3, add a card, rest go to the bottom of your deck in any order. Life Burst, target up SIGNI your opponent's field and send it to the trash. We have gem support, or jewel support. Auto once per turn, when you discard a card without guard from your hand by a cost or effect, you put that card into the enter zone instead of the trash. Auto, at the beginning of your attack phase, you may pay 3 red, and if you do, this gets Assassin until end of turn. Life Burst, pick 1. Target up SIGNI in your opponent's field and vanish it, or draw 1 card. So these are actually like really nice supports for Tama and Hanyo in the past set, because I know one issue that I've had playing the Tama stuff is sometimes I just don't have sometimes I just need a little bit more power. So the new SR does kind of pay off in that sense, and with all the discards that Jewel wants to do, being able to convert at least one of those discards into enter is also really nice. And it's also just another damage source. You never complain about that in red. Moving on, some of the generic support for our Larigs in this set. We got Vidolfinir, Blessed Angel. At the end of your turn, target one other SIGNI in your field, and you get Shadow level 2 and lower till the end of your opponent's next turn. And Life Burst, target a SIGNI in your opponent's field, it gets can't attack until end of turn, and you draw 1. And then we got Shaxx, Blessed Evil. At the beginning of your main phase, target a SIGNI on your opponent's field 5k power lower, and you may trash this SIGNI from field. If you do, bounce the targeted SIGNI, and as an action you can down this to give it 4k until the end of your opponent's next turn. So it's kind of a delayed hole. And we'll also see these similar effects onto the level 2 support for angels and demons. So we got Shamshiel, I don't know how to pronounce that, I'm sorry. Shamshiel, Blessed Angel. At the end of your turn, you can target one other SIGNI on your field and gets 2k cross turn. Life Burst, look at 3, add a SIGNI from amongst them to your hand or put it to the field, and the rest go to the bottom of your deck in any order. And we have Sire, Blessed Evil. At the beginning of your main phase, target one SIGNI in your opponent's field 10k power lower, and you may trash this from field and pay 1. If you do, return that SIGNI to its owner's hand. And there's an action, you can down this and it gets 4k cross turn. As for dragon support, we got Gita, Phantom Dragon. While there are 3 or less cards in your opponent's enter zone, this gets plus 4k. As a Life Burst, ditch 1, then draw 3. And as a note, you still draw cards even if you do not discard a card, because that discard is not a cost, it is part of the effect. You have Yamatosaurus, Phantom Dragon. On enter, if there is another dragon on your field, target a SIGNI in your opponent's field that has 2k or less power and vanish it unless your opponent pays 1. As for the level 2 support, we got Slavic Dragon, Phantom Dragon. On enter, if there's another dragon SIGNI in your field, you can target an 8k lower, or you pay 1. If there is another dragon in your field, target a SIGNI in your opponent's field with 8k power or less, and they vanish it unless they pay 2. And then Griana, Phantom War Dragon. At the beginning of your attack phase, if there is another dragon on your field, target one card in your opponent's enter zone that does not share a color with your opponent's Larig, and put it to the trash. Life Burst, target a SIGNI in your opponent's field with 10k or less power, and vanish it unless your opponent pays 3. That wraps it up for all of the Loth Selector spoilers that we have for these past couple weeks. So far, the set's turning out to be really good. I'm loving all the spread across the different styles that each of these can do, and I look forward to actually playing with these cards when they come out. Both in English and Japanese, because I am going to get a case of this set too. But we're going to go on to our English stuff now, what we've all been waiting for. So, upcoming Vegas GP, I know it's been a little bit quiet with the announcement date, but we did, before I started recording this, we did get an announcement in the Carta Magica Discord Registration for the Las Vegas GP will open on Friday, July 14th. That is in 2 days at 12 p.m. EST. There will be 128 spots available. And I'll have the link to the pre-register page and the event page in the description below. Additional information for participating item stuff is still to be announced by Takara Tomy. There is a hotel discount for the event with Alexis Park Hotel. This will be listed on the event page details. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody there. I'll be there judging again. But I definitely will be looking forward to seeing everybody there that can go. New and old faces. Additionally, for announcements, we do have our June party promos. We got Tawil Desona, Nova Desona, Yukime Desona, and Ril Desona. Really interesting array of SIGNI for this one. Probably the one that's going to be the most played out of this is Nova Desona, just because it is the big body 4 level 1s out of this past set before Concord. And we also have information for the Concord Diva pre-release party. So here's what our pre-release kits could look like. I didn't play in the last one, unfortunately, because my store didn't get these. So I have no clue if the 3 assists are all included or if it's 2 of the 3. If somebody could enlighten me in the comments below, that'd be great. So we have all of the new SIGNIs. The assists could be Tamago, Sash, or Mew, which I believe, with the exception of Tamago, are the assists for this set. I could be wrong. Can't entirely remember. You get 3 servants, and then our pieces for this one, again, are cute. I'm done trying to pronounce this name. That piece, and then Afternoon Tea Show. For prizing for this, the winner will get a special servant pack from the Concord Diva boxes, and then a random prize will be given out of a congrats version of Yuka Yuka, Lalaru, Sui, Maho Maho, and Desona. On to English spoilers. We have the rest of our pieces and some of our SRs for this set. So we got another 2-sided piece in this set. We've got Unknown. Turn this card face down in your check zone and put the unknown code Rue onto your field. If unknown code Rue put onto the field this way would leave the field, it is instead removed from the game. So unknown code Rue is a Desona SIGNI Primal Tone, level 3, 12k. Constant, during your opponent's turn, this gets Shadow. Auto, when this attacks, draw 1 or enter charge 1 and unenter until the end of your next enter phase. As long as this SIGNI remains on the field, increase your center's Larig limit by 2. So you use this piece, you get an extra 2 limit, so you can play a full field of level 3s. And just have, it's basically the Yuka Yuka Piyahara, I think. Yeah, Piyahara. Assist except attached to a piece in a SIGNI. So I think it's a little bit better because you can actually still keep your Larig slots for like defensive stuff instead of giving up one just to have a big board for a turn. Moving on for more pieces, we've got. I can't not call this card Fuon. So if I accidentally do now in future, please forgive me. That's what I'm used to this card's name being. We got Unrest. Dream Team, 3 or more different colors on your from your rigs. Draw 2 and then put up to 3 SIGNI from your hand onto the field. Then if there are 3 Desona SIGNI on your field, put target SIGNI in your opponent's field to the bottom of the owner's deck unless your opponent discards 2. Main phase timing. This card's not okay. I don't know this card's not okay. It's really not. We've got Instigate, also same Dream Team condition. Put the top 8 cards of your deck or your opponent's deck into the trash, then put up the 2 target Desona SIGNI from your trash onto the field. Target SIGNI on your opponent's field gets minus 5k for for each Dishonor Signy on your field until end of turn. So this plays really nicely with Black Tama, or just in general, because discard is still, like, discard is a very prevalent strategy still into this format, because we do have Miko, and then upcoming we also have Pure Loop that does play stuff like extra, so being able to pull stuff out of your trash is always really nice in my opinion. But that's all we've got for pieces. Moving on to some of the SR spoilers. We got Akino Disona, Aquatic Beast. At the beginning of your attack phase, choose one of the following. You may discard a Disona. If you do, bounce a Signy on your opponent's field with 8k or less power. Or you can discard a Signy with Guard, and if you do, you just return any target Signy in your opponent's field to the opponent's hand. Action, pay 1. If a Signy on your opponent's field is vanished this turn, it is instead returned to the owner's hand instead of the enter zone. So it's a way to... You pay 1 for this to deny enter to your opponent, which I don't know if it's necessarily good. Depending on what you use this to vanish, or what you use, or depending on what you vanish, because you don't want to, like, vanish their problem cards and have them return your hand. You actually want those to go away. So I don't know how exactly useful that ability is, but forget about that. We've got Lovick Disona, Phantom Beast deity. As a constant, during your turn, other Disona Signy on your field get plus 3k. Once per turn, during your turn, when an Larig on your opponent's field grows, put target card from your opponent's enter zone into their trash, and this does activate before that Larig's enter ability, because turn player gets priority on all of their abilities. Then on enter, put 2 Disona cards from your enter into your trash. You can vanish a target Signy in your opponent's field with 12k or less power. Honestly, the best thing about this is the constant and the auto, because you think about this with Bang Memoria, or not Bang Memoria, sorry, Bang Disona. That Bang Disona is like 18k for no reason with just one of these, and if for some reason, let's entertain ourselves. Let's say we are playing Piahara. Imagine having 3 of these Lovets out on the field. That's like a full field of 18Ks. It's kind of funny. But no, the best ability on this is definitely the enter burn whenever your opponent grows their Larig, because if they're not paying attention, this can actually stop them from using some of their enter abilities that cost enter. More SRs. We've got Aya Disona, Master Trickster. When this Signy leaves the field outside of your main phase, you may pay a blue and put the bottom card of your deck into your trash. Then if the card put in your trash this way is level 1, draw 3. If it's level 2, your opponent discards 3. If it is level 3 or more, vanish target Signy on your opponent's field. If it is a spell, look at your opponent's hand and choose a card. Your opponent discards it, and then on enter, you look at the bottom card of your deck. Alpha Disona, Doomed Evil Queen. When this Signy leaves the field outside of your main phase, put the top 4 cards of your opponent's deck into their trash. And then as an action, down 2 up Larig. Target Signy in your opponent's field gets minus 5k until end of turn. The auto ability on Alpha is funny because you can enter charge it and force your opponent to mill 4 since it is outside of your main phase that it's leaving the field. The Aya Disona, I think it's more funny than anything. I don't know if he'll actually see play. It might, for all I know. But I don't remember this card being played during P13 era in Japanese. But English, for so far, has been a lot different than Japanese meta, for the most part. So I could see people playing this. This card's got is a little cute and funny. Moving on, we've got the normal and SRP version of Heidi. Yes, it's misspelled. It's supposed to be Haity. There was an errata posted for it. That's why we have an image of her SRP. It's fine. They acknowledged it. And now if only they would acknowledge the Lalaru one. So at the beginning of your opponent's attack phase, you may put this Signy on your field into its owner trash and pay a white and 2 colorless. If you do, trash target Signy on your opponent's field. And then as an action, down this gains during your opponent's turn. This gets Shadow until the end of your opponent's next end phase. And then Life Burst. Draw 2. Signy in your hand. Gain Guard this turn. or gain the guardian symbol and the signet in your hand with the guard symbol, gain guard. This is probably a fine one of, just because you can. It's a delayed hole, as so long as it stays alive. The life burst is really good though. I've always been a fan of the draw and then all signet in your hand get guard. The draw too is just nicer, honestly. So you don't have to. So if you do run these, you don't have to worry about like, oh no, my servants got discarded anyways. Draw 2. Now my hand of like 8 cards theoretically is all guards. So who cares? Moving on, we've got Guzuko Desona, Tragic Parted Queen. Auto, once per turn. When this becomes a target of an ability or effect of your opponent, put the top card of your deck into trash. If that card is a SIGNI, you may pay a black and a colorless. If you do, put that card from your trash onto the field, downed. And on enter, you can pay a black and 2 colorless to vanish target SIGNI on your opponent's field. Life Burst, add target SIGNI without a guard from trash to hand, or put it on the field. On Desona, Jade Beauty Queen, and Desona, Jade Beauty Queen. On enter, choose a color. Constant. During your opponent's turn, this SIGNI gains Shadow, the color chosen with the enter ability of this SIGNI. Auto, twice per turn. When one or more cards are discarded from your hand, or one or more cards from your enter zone are put into trash by one of your opponent's effects, draw 1 or enter charge 1. So it's a way to convert discards into enter if you need it, or to indirectly convert the enter into draws, or to just refill your hand. Back after getting discard. Now do note with the wording on this, if your opponent's card says discard 3, you only get to draw 1. It doesn't say whenever a card is discarded. It says one or more cards are discarded from your hand. So if you have to discard 3, you only get to draw 1 or enter charge 1. Adversely, if a card on your opponent's field says burn 2, enter, you only get to draw 1 or enter charge 1. But this ability does activate twice. And so if you get hit back to back with double discards, you get to draw 2, etc., etc. You get what I'm trying to say. As for the Guzuko, it's the same vein as the Aya. It's cute, especially if you can stack your top deck and not worry about it getting milled. So you could, like, in a really funny roundabout way, like if this Guzuko gets vanished and you have another Guzuko on top of your deck, you could pay 5 to just vanish something on your opponent's field for some reason. But I don't think that's actually what it's going to be used for at all. But we do have our partner SIGNI for Hirana and Code Pure Luke, as well as I don't know why I'm blanking on who the green SIGNI is for this set. It's Midoriko. Yeah, it's Midoriko. Sorry. At the beginning of your attack phase, if you have one of your cards in your hand, enter charge 1 on Apex Desona Crimson Angel Queen. And when this attacks, if Hirana, step towards the check, is on your field, you may put 3 Desona from your enter zone into your trash. If you do, this gets Assassin until end of turn. Life Burst, vanish target SIGNI your opponent's field with 10k or less. And then for Code Pure Luke's ability, or partner SIGNI, we have Save Desona, Code Heart. At the beginning of your attack phase, if you have used a spell this turn, choose one of the following: draw 1 or enter charge 1. Enter. If Code Pure Luke Ultimate is on your field, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, reveal a spell from amongst them, add it to your hand. The rest go on the bottom of your deck in any order. Life Burst, draw 2, your opponent discards 1. Both pair very nicely with their respective lore rigs. I don't remember the Hirana off the top of my head, but I do know with Save Desona, because Pure Luke can use a spell from your trash, it pairs very nicely with the auto ability of it. And then finally, we've got Lupul Desona, Phantom Beast 80. Constant, as long as this has 30k or more power, it gains. This SIGNI cannot gain abilities by your opponent's effects. Auto, whenever this attacks, if Midoriko Dispersal 3 is on your field, vanish target SIGNI on your opponent's field with power that is half of this SIGNI's power or less.
So, if this has 30k power, you can vanish a 15k or less. And as an action, you can pay 1. This gets plus 5k until end of turn. And as a life burst, draw 1 and enter charge 2. Whew. That's a lot of spoilers. I'm sorry for how long this video is going to be, guys. That is a lot of spoilers to go over, but that's what happens when I miss for 2 weeks, and I do apologize for that. But, as always, everybody, I want to thank you guys for watching and listening. If you're not subscribed already, please subscribe, like, comment the videos, and etc., etc. Once again, I will see you in the next one, and please remember, going forward, these will be posted on Wednesdays. And with that, I will see you all later. Everybody have a fantastic rest of your day.